Hello, welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. I have with me the estimable Nato DePaula Pimenta. How did I do?
Oh, wonderful.
Did I do that with soul and passion?
Too much flair for me even.
Oh my gosh. See, I told you. I don't like to butcher people's names. There was one time where I had somebody on my show and she just stared at me in kind of like a hostile fashion, for the 10 minutes, and I didn't get why. And I realized I was doing, I think, a soft C for her name rather than a hard C.
Okay.
And then she told me after, and I'm like, why didn't you just tell me during? Who cares? Anyway, I appreciate you that you're here. We're finally meeting face to face, which is awesome too. We're watching craziness here on Hollywood Boulevard, and we're going to dig into how you help people achieve great things with creative coaching and storytelling, strategy, and all kinds of cool stuff that you do. So why don't you tell me a bit about your journey from TV production to creative coaching and how everything is interconnected?
Sure. So, according to my mom, when I was 2 years old, I started telling stories. I loved stories, really. From there, I went into acting at a young age, and then eventually when it came time to pick a subject, right, you got to go to college, I went into film. And in Brazil, which is where I'm from, there was no film school. There was just film. Mm-hmm. So I had to go into social communication with a minor in film. So social communication became the basis. That was the structure. That was the baseline for then to jump the springboard into film.
Right.
So there, I got very interested, actually. I thought it was going to be, I'm going to have to go through this. But in studying anthropology, philosophy, psychology, all of that, I was like, oh yeah, I love it.
That's great. So it's very dynamic.
Yes.
Education.
So by the time I went into film, this interest in anthropology and how people work and think and what makes them tick was already very ingrained in me. I kept doing a lot of self-discovery, got into meditation, got into a lot of different practices just for my own mindset, while still pursuing a career in film. Got into acting, did acting for 6 years, then opened a production company, start producing commercials, and then film. And along the way, always being the guy that people would come for advice and what do I do here?
Right.
Strategically, or even people not having the mindset for it.
Would you say that you kind of need that mindset to be able to work strategically? I think that in some ways you have to have some mindset to create a workable strategy. I think that comes first. It's like a launch pad in a way.
You're the one saying it.
At least for me.
No, 100% I agree. It took to make a long story short, then eventually I started consulting in projects, and I realized I can't just consult on the project. I need to consult on the creator. The strategy is not sound because the way he's seeing the world and himself in it is not sound.
He being a creative that needs assistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
He or she, but that's where it started with a he. Turns out we are less resourceful than women, actually, most of the time. And that's not even kidding.
Yeah.
So it started there. This one consultation that I had that I was allowed, I asked, may I step back and just, can we look at under the hood, if you will, of you? And in talking about that and finding the right strategy through the blueprint of mindset, I was like, I think this is where, and I really found myself really thriving in that space. I started creating more opportunities for myself there. So bringing all the toolbox, right? All of the tools in the toolbox.
Can you maybe just highlight a little bit about your process? So if you get somebody who's a creative who comes to you and is like, help, I can't, I'm stuck. And maybe you can give me an example of somebody who said that. How do you help them with their mindset to feel more creatively empowered, I guess?
So we will start from where we are, right? Some people will come and they think all they need is, I need a little doctoring of my script.
Yeah.
Example of a filmmaker, which is a client right now that I'm working with. And I look at the film And the first question is like, okay, what do you want for this film to accomplish? And why this story? Why? I started asking a lot of whys.
That's great. It all starts with the why.
Yeah.
It does. I tell my
so.
digital marketing clients the same thing.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Why and what is it for? Why, meaning what do you want to, right? What's the overarching thing that you're going for? And then what is this specific one for?
Yeah.
In your trajectory, what are you hoping to accomplish? What is the strategy here with the piece? And then we'll do the strategy for the piece. And then I come in, sometimes is strategy, sometimes we need a little bit of peak performance coaching so the person can see the world a little broader and see themselves in it a little more empowered to go after, because how can I say this? A lot of people are playing it safe. A lot of people are playing reactionary to what's out there already. A lot of people are not inserting themselves enough, their essence, their own narrative identity.
Yes.
Something I learned recently that I'm going to steal.
No, you can't steal it. You can cite it.
Yes. It's from her and her great crowdcast webinar that I watched.
Well, I thank you. But yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. I think it's easy to kind of jump in and do what everyone else is doing or what they've observed and not allow themselves to pull out what's there from their own being and let it manifest into their work.
Yeah. Because with filmmakers, it's like, oh, I want to make, I don't know, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels Part 2. With actors is, I'm a young Matt Damon. It's like, you're you.
That
what
happens
is
a
you,
lot.
Right? Like with a, like, great. You gave me some comparisons and some comps. That's all great. It worked for Hollywood. They love it. But I want to know, here, you and I, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you stand for? What's your true? What's the narrative that's coming through? What's the essence, the essential truth?
How do you help them pull it out? Like, do you give them prompts or do you give them exercises? What do you do?
Yes, I do. I draw a lot of circles in my practice.
I know, you love like the circle symbolism. What does that mean to you?
Well, Taoism, right? The yin and yang, and the circle in the sense to, as I see it, time is circular. Even our watches will tell us that. Whoever still has a watch.
You have one?
No.
Cheryl has one.
I do not. But this idea of, first time I heard this, Joseph Campbell was quoting somebody else saying God, or the idea of God, the idea of the mysterious, the idea of the structure that creates this reality, whatever your belief system is a circle with center is everywhere and the circumference nowhere. So this idea of the center is the center of your being and the circumference is nowhere because it's everywhere. There's no end to it. So that's the circle idea. And then in my practice, the circle, I see it, maybe because I come from the filmmaking world, thinking as a lens and the focus of your life is within that circle. So we put inside that circle what you want to focus in.
Right.
And we put everything outside the circle that you want to focus out or blur out or prune out of your life.
Block out, extract.
Yeah. So whatever is there right now that's unresourceful, we're going to write it outside that circle. And whatever we already have that we need to focus on, or what we don't have that we know we want to insert into focus in our life, we're going to bring into focus into that circle. And we're going to put that somewhere so that we can look at that. That's our vision board.
I love vision boards.
Essential truths that you are now standing for.
So do you imagine, because I mean your company's called The Creative Journey, so do you imagine that journey as being cyclical almost?
Absolutely. It's cyclical when we are looking 2D, and if you look 3D, really the journey of anybody, including a creative being, but we're all creators. We're all creating something. We're creating this moment, co-creating this moment right now, you and me. We're always creating.
Everybody is. And I think that sometimes when we got caught up in like the label system, like, okay, well, I'm not doing this or I'm not known as this, so how could I possibly be X or Y or Z? It's like, well, if you tell yourself that you're not, you're not.
Correct. whether you think you can or can't, you're always right?
Yeah.
So, the Dodge.
How do you deal with people? And maybe you can offer me some advice, because there's a lot of people that I love, that I have in my life, who feel like they can't move beyond a certain situation. And while there are certain obstacles that exist, clearly, I mean, we all have them, but they kind of keep themselves just there, like, well, I mean, I can't do this, or I have no time. You probably deal with that a lot, especially busy creatives probably tell you, I don't have time, and, well, this is my situation, and I keep getting burned, or whatever the case, kind of in that. Yeah.
That's a lot of questions there.
I know. I'm trying to attack you with questions.
I know. There's 3 things there. I don't have time is...
We don't have time.
Did we run out of time?
We're getting there. So.
Don't have time is get rid of everything that's not a non-negotiable in your life. Live only for the non-negotiables. Make a list of what's non-negotiable and do that first. And then you get to go into Netflix and Twitter and whatever, but do the non-negotiables first.
Yeah.
Challenges. Look at challenges as the weight in the weight room, that by pushing that, you exercising a new muscle. Mm-hmm. How do you bench press 300 pounds? Is not by starting with 300 pounds. You start with 10 pounds, 5 pounds, and eventually you can push yourself out of the 300 pounds.
So baby steps.
But see every challenge as there for you, not against you. See that as something that you're going to now get to exercise your creativity, your resourcefulness. And once you get over it, you now have learned a new trick.
And also not to resent past challenges, and to see them as maybe learning blocks and stepping stones for your current situation, and trying to learn from them, and try not to resent them. I think that's a big problem a lot of people struggle with.
I tell my clients, get rid of the word try. Don't resent them and learn from them.
Yeah. I love that. I was listening to one of your podcast. I think it was one of your podcast episodes, and you're talking about the removal of the word try. And that's something that even I think that I'm quite a proactive person, very action oriented, but even I find myself still saying, like, I'll try my best and stuff like that. And sure, it's like sometimes you can't always do everything, and I am somebody that maybe kind of overdoes it sometimes. So that might be where that's coming from, but it's better to just say you can't than to say I'll try.
Right, like, can you make to this party? I can't. I try, more than likely you're not going to go. Yeah. So everything else in life, when you do it, you put yourself into it, it's a non-negotiable, go for it. Do your best. If you fail at it, great. You learn, you iterate, and next time you do it better. But don't, because I know a lot of people trying to write scripts, there's not a page written, because you get to say, I'm trying, and that looks like nothing.
Yeah, right, totally.
Do something that's active that you get to look at the end of the day is like, I did it, not I tried to do it.
Like, I will write 1 page a day.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you got to do.
Rather than, oh, yeah, I'll try. I think part of it is because people put so much pressure on, like, the idea of, like, I have to do everything all at once. Because it's like our culture in America is such, like, you want that instant gratification, and for many, instant gratification relates to seeing something done quickly, rather than actually, like, understanding and enjoying and learning from a process. And I think that is a big part of it.
Don't you get better at interviews, each interview you give? And each time you interview somebody, you learn something new about yourself and how to go about people.
Absolutely.
But you didn't start with a master's degree in interviewing.
No.
And I think that's the thing too. We have this finish line syndrome, and this is not mine. I heard this somewhere else. Finish line syndrome. We look at Michael Phelps, and we want to be Michael Phelps without jumping in the pool first, and seeing how we measure up against ourselves, against the people next to us, and then working towards mastery instead of expecting results.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people that I come across that just expect that immediate outcome. I mean, even when I was younger, I was like, why isn't, X or Z, like, happening fast enough? And it's because, obviously I was young and naive, and I didn't understand the importance of process. But anyway, I'm getting a wrap it up sign from my friend Marvin over here. So I thank you so much for your time sitting down with
Thank
me and
you.
talking about your work. When we come back, we'll have a brief round table with you and Cheryl, and I think that will be interesting. Stay tuned.